should have remembered.
Hello and welcome to Partners in Crime. I'm Shawna.
And I'm Annie.
And today we are actually, to our surprise, we've moved into season 4 on our list. So we didn't spend very
Highly
much.
irregular.
Yeah, not a lot of time in season 3, just the 2 episodes. The Gift and then Pas de Deux.
And then how many season 2 episodes do we have?
Like about 10.
7?
But then we were discussing this and realized it's probably because Bishop is in so many of the season 3 episodes.
And if anybody needs to remember, Bin War, Bishop is not worthy of replacing Eames.
Yes, we are all aware of Annie's policy, her strict no Bishop policy. So because she vetoed all of those episodes, we didn't really have as many to choose from season 3. But here we are moving on to season 4.
So when you say veto, what do you mean? Do you mean Vincent D'Onofrio?
No.
Because that's what people call him.
Do they?
Veto. Yeah. VDO.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I meant veto in terms of like, we're not allowed to do an episode that has Bishop. Because I may have done the one with Connie. I can't remember what it's called. It's like on that little island and that teenage cult leader. Like that could have made my list.
It would have been, it had so much potential. It had so much potential, but then, all of a sudden we're watching it and Bishop is holding a dog and she's weird and she has red hair and I want Eames back.
Yeah, so it was a no-go. So that's what I mean by veto. But luckily by season 4, it's just Eames is back full-time. And so this week's episode is the Posthumous Collection. And this is one of Annie's picks, but I really like this episode too. So it probably was very close to making my list also. So tell us a little bit about what happens in this episode.
It's actually about art and photography.
Yeah.
So there's this photographer. He seems to be very busy and stressed, and there's a lot going on, and so he's doing a photo shoot, and then we see him and his wife, and he's like, we're going back to Germany right now.
Yeah.
And she seems kind of shocked, but okay, whatever. And then what happens?
Then he gets a phone call.
Then
he's like, no, I won't do it, I refuse, you wouldn't do that. And then he's like, all right, I'll be right there.
And then he goes and he's dead.
Yeah, next thing we see, he's dead. And how did they find him?
He's like tied up in a car.
Yeah, so basically kind of a staged crash scene. He's handcuffed. I think they put a block of wood on the accelerator. And so Eames is like kind of flashy for a murder. And Goren's like, yeah, maybe that's the point. So they sort of do a little bit of kind of background on this man. His name is Gerhard Heldman. So he's a very controversial photographer, but very famous. And I guess the controversy is, like, he claims to love women and likes to depict them being very strong and capable. But a lot of people think, it's like, it's women in bikinis very often, right? So there's a little bit of controversy over whether his pictures are feminist or whether they're actually exploitive of women. So then they end up, they go and they talk to his assistant, and his assistant is like, doesn't have time for them,
He's so annoyed.
and is just annoyed that they're there. And he's like, yeah, we were at a shoot. Somebody had left a note on his bag. Next thing you know, he's canceled his plans for the evening. This has happened a few times in the past few months. And then Goren picks up the bag and sees that there's actually ash on the bottom.
Yeah.
And so they end up going to this...
We should also mention that, like, Gerhard's parents were survivors of the Holocaust.
Yeah. And when they talk to his wife... she says that he couldn't really stand people that allowed themselves to be victimized. And he was really upset, even about his parents, that they sort of allowed that to happen to them. I mean, as if they really had any choice. But that was kind of a big issue for this Gerhard, and kind of his whole... It is important to the story, like that's his whole artistic vision, is celebrating people's strength, and particularly women, like their
So,
strength,
in
their
my
power.
opinion on his work, on what we see in his work, I don't really see anything wrong with it. Like, I like the depictions we see. I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think it's weird and good.
But it's important because it sort of becomes important as we learn more. So they end up finding this sort of like burnt out building, and there's evidence that Gerhardt was there, that he was doing some work there. And then Goren finds this like stuff in tinfoil, and it's a great moment. He smells it and he's like, I don't know what this is. And then what does Eames say?
A smell you can't identify.
And like she's like really enjoying it. She's like, what? Like a smell you can't identify?
We got to mention that Homer's in it.
Well, that hasn't happened yet, but so yeah. So then though, like they also find at this place, there's like old couches, like someone got sick in the bathroom, and then there's like makeup rags. So there's rags with like makeup on them. But then also Goren's smelling it, and this smell he can identify as decomp, like that someone, a dead person, had, been whatever, using the makeup. So then that brings in Homer, which I didn't remember the dog's name, but he's the cadaver dog.
He's in a few.
He's in a few. So Annie was like, oh, I wonder if they'll get Homer, and sure enough, there he was. So yeah, there's quite a bit of decomp in the building, like on a woman's scarf. The dog really reacts, and so they think that it couldn't have been that long ago that the person died, actually. And then they find in the fridge, they find this old film that actually has to be stored in a very cool temperature, and it was film made by like a company that actually made film for the Nazis, and they ended up going out of business because they used Jewish slaves.
So obviously it's extremely rare stuff, highly unstable because of just how old it is.
So Goren's trying to piece this together, like, okay, so this Gerhardt, he wants to go back to Germany all of a sudden. Even though he had previously kind of blamed his parents for being victims, now he's sort of actually like using
resensitized
film.
it.
So yeah, Goren's thinking maybe this was some kind of project to sort of resensitize himself. And like Gerhardt's assistant had said, I was putting out resumes. He was losing his edge. Like his work has just become repetitive and derivative, and so Goren was like, well, maybe he's looking for some kind of jolt. So they're intrigued by what's going on, and when they find the film, Eames is like, well, there's only a few places to store this kind of film. Like it would have to be stored somewhere, cool and sort of environment controlled. So they end up finding these. Are they negatives or just pictures? Like,
I think they just find the pictures.
Yeah. And so what are the pictures?
They're like women kind of laying around in different places, and in every one of them they have marbles.
Broken marbles.
Broken marbles. Which I'd like to mention, there's this woman on a couch. And when Taylor Swift released her new album, The Life of a Showgirl, in October, and she released the photos, there was one that I couldn't stop looking at because it just like reminded me of something that I didn't know what. Mm-hmm. And it was like the woman on the couch. So we'll put that photo up, but like it's actually really similar.
Yeah, so it's a similar style.
It's a similar style. The way she's looking at the camera is similar. It's weird. She's like holding something in her hand. Yeah.
This also brings back memories of like the midnight like photo shoot. Because when we were watching Lost and like Horace is passed out on the couch in the 70s, we're like, oh, it's kind of like the midnight photo shoot. But anyway, we digress. So yes, and then what else do they notice about these photos?
All the women are missing, and yet they don't suspect a thing. They don't. Like, I knew from the second they showed the photos, those women are all dead. Yeah. They're all dead.
Like, in the photos, they're dead. Yeah. So how does Goren figure it out?
Their eyes are... It's gross. but they're like...
It's called tache noire, I think.
Yeah, they're starting to decompose, so the whites are
well,
not
it's
white
because
anymore.
we blink so often, right, that our eyes are not exposed to air, but when you're dead with your eyes open, I guess because of the exposure, they actually start to kind of get discolored, like the whites of your eyes. So he notices that, and it's kind of like Annie says, like, I don't know why they're both so
they're
shocked by
both
it.
Oh.
That, like, Goren's, like, really looking intently, and then Eames actually says, like, are you all right?
Yeah.
And he's like, I thought it was a lighting trick at first. And then Eames is like,
they're so clearly dead. I don't know why they're making such a big deal about it. I think it's their job.
It's not what they expected, right? That Gerhardt is doing this new project, and it's kind of different for him. He's keeping it secret. These missing women are models. But they didn't think that Gerhardt was like the type that would kill these women to make them models.
That's because he's not.
He's not. And so then they're like, okay, so maybe the person that supplied the bodies killed them. And so they're talking to his wife some more. She's
and
just
the
very
useless son that has like maybe one line, but it's like a recurring character in the episode.
It is odd, like how much the son, how many scenes he's in, just kind of contributing nothing.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, I guess there is an important scene with him. He teaches an art class, and after the lecture, very poorly attended, I would add. Like, they just couldn't find enough extras to fill this theater. But anyway, this guy, who we will see again, comes up to him and is like, oh, I'm really sorry about your dad. I heard that he was working on something new and it was really controversial. And the son's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So that's the first glimpse we see of this man. So then, they're talking to his wife and...
oh, right. And then they're wondering if he got any, like, messages or something about the photos.
Well, they show the photos and they're like, does this...
Oh, right. Is this
spark
familiar?
anything? Does it mean anything?
It was. It was from a letter that she got, like, 2 years ago. And so she digs up this old letter in this cabinet file just full with...
like, fan mail,
so
really.
much mail. Yeah. And, the sketches are, like, very similar, too.
Yeah, it's women, except in the sketches, it's more women lying on the floor,
like
holding
captive.
Marbles, and there's like marbles around them.
They're gagged.
Gagged.
And they're handcuffed, and it's more violent than kind of... The photos are still disturbing, but they're kind of like beautiful in a way.
They're beautiful, like, because they're women in like fancy gowns and like they're made
Jewelry
up very nicely. It's sort of like, that idea of sort of the fainting couch, like the woman sort of, sprawled out on the fainting couch. But these sketches are different, and they're also specific in terms of, like, one is lying on a kitchen floor, one is lying next to a bathtub, and they're holding these broken marbles. And so, so then there was a letter that went with it,
but they can't
find it.
So... very unusual.
But how they connect the dots is one of the women in the photos, it turns out her name was Marla Kelly. This was the most recent victim, or the one who most recently went missing. And so they go to her apartment, and her mom is there, and it's really sad. Like, she's, kind of cleaning up the apartment and just so confused. Like, she really liked it here, but, she hadn't met many people. But she liked, going to Lincoln Center and art and everything the city had to offer. So then the mom's walking by, and she's got this tube, like, for a poster.
This conveniently placed tube.
Well, she was about to walk out the door with it, actually. And then Goren's like, hey, like, what's in that tube? And she's like, oh, a sketch of Marla. I found it on her desk. And so they're like, okay, so maybe the person who did this sketch is the killer. And they realize that
all of the 4 victims have been near this Lincoln Center and like 2 days before they went missing.
And so they're thinking, okay, so that's like pretty common that like artists do sketches of people, like by Lincoln Center. So they're talking to Deakins.
Deakins, obviously, he's running late or something. He doesn't have enough time. He's got to be snarky.
Well, and they end up somehow finding more sketches of like the other missing women. And they're clearly all done by the same artist. And how does Goren figure that out?
The eyes.
Yeah, so the eyes have these sort of pie-shaped slices of light in them. It's just part of this artist's style. So obviously this is the guy, right? That like all 4 women had sketches done.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. So Deacon says, well, I know what you guys will be doing this weekend. And here we have just one of my favorite scenes ever.
So cinematic.
So what happens?
So we see this guy, I guess, just waiting for someone to come up to him
and
to
it's
draw.
the same guy that was talking to the son after the lecture.
And so then Eames comes up, and she's like, hi, are you busy? And then, you know, she sits down, he starts drawing.
And she's, like, super cute.
Yeah.
Like, and so this is a great showcase for Catherine Irby because, you know, she's just putting on such a great performance that she's kind of shy and like new to New York and is having trouble meeting people, and it's just kind of adorable, actually.
Yes, but also like super specific.
Yeah.
Like there's some she's like, what, do I remind you of someone? And yeah, and then just like clockwork, Goren comes in and is like
undercover Goren. At his very best.
At his very best. He's like holding something. I don't know what it is, if it's like a camera or something. But yeah, he's like in his flannel shirt and he's
got sunglasses on. And so he comes up and he's like, hey, I really like what you're doing here. Almost as pretty as the original. And then Eames is all like,
yeah, it's just like
flashed.
So it's really cute, but and then this guy who is kind of trying to put the moves on Eames is kind of upset that
because
Goren
right
comes
before,
and pulls up a chair.
Because what happened right before Goren interrupted them?
He said like, hey, can I keep your sketch? Like it's turning out really good for like an art showcase or something.
Yeah.
And then give it back to her after. And so then he would need a way to contact her again to give it back, and that's how he would ask the women on a date and then kill them.
So we realize, like, he's gonna kill Eames. So then was she supposed to be the...
I don't know.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
So this is, like, horrifying, because that's what he did with all the other women, is that he did the sketch, you know, said, oh, can I keep it? What's your number so I can give it back to you? Then would, like, ask them to go on a date, take them to the studio, and kill them. And we actually, before this, see a woman named Maisie answering her phone, and she's like, I'd love to. That sounds exciting. You know, and then she's
picks up her cat, and it's like, you're eating alone tomorrow.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Yeah. But, I mean, pretty despicable that that's this guy's MO, that he, like, picks up lonely newcomers to New York, that, like, nobody's really looking out for them. So anyways, but thankfully Goren is there, and yeah, like Annie said, he pulls up a chair, he kind of hijacks the conversation.
Yeah, totally. And had this not been a murder investigation and they were just strangers, and this guy really was just an artist, yeah, it would be very weird.
But like really sweet, because we see how Goren would ask Eames out on a date. If
yeah,
such a
and he
thing
does
were
actually
possible.
ask her.
And he starts talking about artists, because what they sort of recognize from the sketches, they're very similar to the old detective comics of these like damsels in distress.
DC.
Yeah, yeah. So then Goren starts talking to Eames about, you know, these like artists, like there's Belarski is one, and so the guy, the suspect, is getting
really
clearly annoyed, because he obviously disagrees. He's sort of like, you don't know what you're talking about, and that's my area of expertise. And then Goren starts talking about an artist named Margaret Brundage, and he's like, yeah, it was always confusing to me that a woman, you know, would depict like other women as, what did he say, like helpless victims, or... And then the suspect kind of gets mad and is like, no, that wasn't her style at all. She was like a man hater. Like she depicted women is hating men. And so then they kind of drop the net, right? And so then Eames is like...
No, because he says something like, the artist depicted women as they should be.
And then Eames says...
Yeah.
And is that how you were going to depict
No, dead.
Dead, yeah. Oh, yeah, then Goren's like, what, dead?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Eames is like, is that how you were going to depict me, Jerry? Because supposedly this guy's name is Jerry Summers. And then out comes the badge.
Yeah. And then, they get him up, arrest him, and bring him into the wonderful interrogation room. Mm-hmm. Show him the photos. He's like, what? I don't know these. And, but he obviously does. And he's obviously upset.
Yeah. And then they look into his file, his background, discover, his parents were alcoholics. His dad died in a car crash 20 years ago. And then they see that he was in and out of foster care. So then they're like, okay, we need to find out more about this guy's family. So they go visit his one sister who's serving like 6 to 18 years in Bedford. And what do we learn from the sister?
Isn't that where... no, that's where Nicole...
Yeah, that's where Nicole would have gone. It must be like a women's prison or something. That
Bedford Hills. We'll have to search that up.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then they find out that she's horrible.
Yeah, this guy, his name's Spencer, and he was pretty much terrorized by the women in his family. And so we hear these different stories of just how they abused him. But like the whole time she's telling it like, isn't this hilarious? And like, oh, I'm just remembering something so funny. That Spencer was like his dad, sensitive and wouldn't stop crying when he died. And how like the dad had given him these marbles. And so because they were so sick of him crying, they like smashed the marbles to get him to shut up. And then what are some other examples?
Well, each woman in the family did something to hurt him. So one of them threw matches at him, caught his hair on fire. One of them like fried bad meat and made him eat it.
And so he was in the hospital for food poisoning.
The grandma put him in scalding hot water in the shower. And then the sister Doris, she played bad nurse by tying him up on a bed and dressing up as a nurse and literally just beating him up.
Yeah.
And this poor little boy, like...
So we understand why. And so now they figure out, okay, so he's trying, it's like a revenge fantasy. He's trying to find women to fulfill kind of each role.
But it's weird that I just don't understand why he had to kill them.
Yeah.
Like, take the photos, make them look dead.
Right.
But don't kill... Like, there's no need to kill these innocent women.
Yeah, it's just how it comes out, I guess, that, he can't kill the sister, so he kills women that reminds him of these women.
But who did Eames remind him of?
That's what doesn't really make sense, because it does seem like he's just got one more to go, and the only one is Doris, this sister.
But Eames doesn't look like Doris
But she doesn't look like her. Whereas the Maisie girl who was on the phone does. Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe there's some other woman that he was terrorized by. But yeah, so they figure out what's going on. And so now that they've pieced it all together, they take Spencer and his lawyer up to the studio.
And the stupid lawyer.
Yeah. Supposedly they're like on their way to arraignment court, but they just wanted to check if Spencer's tall enough to reach a vent. And so they find a camera in one of the vents, and then in the other vent there is this nurse outfit, size 14, which would have fit Maisie. And they actually talk to this Maisie and bring her in, and she's all like, oh yeah, he did this sketch of me 2 weeks ago. Is he okay? We were supposed to have a date last night and he didn't show up. And they're like, where was he going to take you? And she said, he said that you could drive all the way to the top of his art gallery.
Which is, I wonder what building that is.
And then she's like, I thought it'd be fun to know someone with a car.
She's so stupid. Like, okay.
Anyway, she just narrowly escaped being murdered. So yeah, then they take him up to the studio. And so I think there's actually enough circumstantial evidence in this case. They probably didn't need the confession, but Goren likes to get the confession. It's just part of his style. And so Goren, they lay out the theory of the crime. That's what he was trying to do. And he doesn't really break. But then how do they break him? What pushes him over the edge?
What? Sorry, I was thinking about something else.
What does Goren show him that actually does get him to confess?
Like the original versus what the guy did to it to make it more beautiful.
So what is the difference between the actual photo that was taken and then what Gerhardt
The actual photo
did to
is
them?
very violent.
Just leave it. Just ignore it. Sorry, we're just like, so many fans trying to be on the show. Anyway, they pieced it together. He's kind of not taking the bait, but then they show him the two sets of photos.
And the original is very violent. Like, you can see how she died, like where the bruises are.
Or just sort of unedited, right?
Yes.
Like just stark. And that you can actually see where the bruises where he sat on this woman and suffocated her. Whereas, what is the finished product?
Beautiful, like a halo, glowing skin, literally just glowing.
Yeah, and so Goren's kind of going on and on about and this is where it's important that before he'd like to portray women as strong and dominant, but what attracted him to this project was kind of a sort of softer view of women and celebrating their vulnerability. And even, this victimization, right? That someone could be a victim, but still be beautiful and special and portrayed in a way that we want to mourn them. So Goren's
he seems like a great artist besides agreeing. But isn't that why he's throwing up at the start?
Yeah, and actually, this Spencer had worked for a mortician, so he probably told Gerhardt, I can get bodies from a mortuary.
Oh, right. So he isn't even doing anything. He doesn't even think he is doing anything.
So as far as he's concerned, he's just taking pictures of women from funeral homes, right, that recently died. But that was the attraction for him, was to kind of, because he loves women and he showed that love of women kind of depicting their strength, now he's actually showing their vulnerability and the beauty of kind of, that softer side.
Which I think is great. I mean, he sounds like a great guy, in my opinion.
But Spencer doesn't like it because that was completely the opposite. This was about revenge and punishing these women, not celebrating them, not mourning them. And of course, Goren's just egging him on, they look like angels, so then that's it. He's and then Goren says, so he obliterated your artistic vision. He obliterated you. And then Spencer just has a classic freak out, kicking, everything out of the way. And then just confesses it all. All he had to do was push the button. I supplied the bodies. So it's just there you go, Carver. There's your confession on a platter.
And he's there. Carver's there.
And his dumb lawyer, they're almost out of there. And then Goren says, I understand why you were so surprised when you saw the photos. And then that, gets his attention and he walks back. And, the lawyer just, walks back with him. and
so
there.
Unaware of anything.
Yeah. So then Carver's okay, well, what I'll do is, we've got this great confession. I'll offer him a plea deal in exchange for him telling us where the bodies are. So, because you can see that, maybe Carver's a little gun-shy about going to trial after his humiliating
I wonder
defeat.
why.
Anyway, so that's the episode. So very interesting. So kind of moving into our segments now. What is your Goren moment?
I think it would be just completely crashing the undercover scene. There's no reason to do it.
That we love the undercover scenes. This one, I think, is my favorite.
It's so good. It's really so good.
Annie still prefers the Nicole Wallace shoe store.
There's no danger of my beloved Eames dying.
There isn't really here, but it is kind of horrifying that it's that's what's happening here, that the Spencer is trying to set it up to kill Eames. But I like it because it's just they're so flirty and it's so fun seeing them that way. Yeah, and it's an act, right? And that's what I like about their undercover scenes is it's not just that they're undercover, but they have this little act. And this time it's going to be sort of a meet cute, that she's going to be shy and like, a little bit flustered, and Goren's going to kind of put the moves on her. So yeah, I love it. I think that it's a great moment. Another good Goren moment is, of course, like when they go to the studio, Goren just like sits down at his assistant's desk, and the assistant is like, "That's my desk," and getting all mad. So that's also classic Goren, just not really respecting people's boundaries. Mm-hmm. And what is your Emmy for overacting?
I think Maisie, just because, wow, like what a loser, kind of.
Well,
just like
she's
talking
supposed to be,
to her
right?
cat, and then knowing someone that has a car.
Yeah.
How did you get here then?
Yeah, probably the subway. But yeah, that's what she's supposed to be, right? She's supposed to be just kind of this naive, girl that's in the big city, just very, very vulnerable. But she plays it up a little bit. And then I think you also had another honorable mention.
Probably the sister, Doris, just because of there's a lot going on in that performance. There's like an accent, there's lots of like body language that's interesting. Just an interesting way of portraying the character. I think she did a good job, but like,
well, because it's sort of like she's that callous. And then they sort of have to play along, right? Like, she's just laughing to herself, thinks it's hilarious, and so Goren's like, what did you do to his marbles? Or like, and really it's horrible. Like, Goren ends up saying to Spencer, like, yeah, you grew up with a bunch of like malevolent freaks, that just, your dad was your only ally against these monsters. Yeah, so it's a good performance.
If only the dad just like ran away with the son.
Yeah. That's the thing about this one. Like, it is really horrible.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't, justify like what he did. He's a bad guy, right? But you do kind of feel bad for him as a little kid, for sure. Yeah, so I wouldn't say there was a ton of overacting in this episode, but that's okay. So last week, we had a glaring omission and did not include our fashion call. So we will remedy that this week. So what is the fashion call?
The fashion call for me is when we're in the interrogation room after the undercover scene. In the undercover scene, she's got like this purple jacket. It's nice. I like the purple jacket, but I like what's under it better because it's like, I like when people layer their outfits. And so it's like a blue cardigan with a white blouse underneath, yeah, it's a very nice sort of Saturday in Lincoln Center kind of outfit, and that's another thing I like about the undercover scenes. Except for in the context where they sort of just go straight from work, usually like it's very well thought out, right, of what the outfit's going to be, what their look is going to be. Same as Goren, he's got the flannel plaid shirt and the sunglasses and just kind of more casual. But she also has like a nice red blouse, lots of collared blouses in this episode. And what is the Eames one-liner? What did you write?
You're both under arrest.
I can't read your handwriting.
Well.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so give us some context for it. When does she say that?
So I guess the way that they actually arrest the guy is because he's got his license
under Jerry
Summers, and that's not his name.
Because then Goren looks at his ID, and it says Spencer, whatever his name is, Farnell. Spencer Farnell, yeah. So then Eames is like, whatever, you're both under arrest.
Which I think she likes that one a lot. She used it on Nicole, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a pretty good one. And then you also liked another one in the same scene.
I also liked, Is That How You Wanted to Portray Me? Yeah. Because it's a really good gotcha moment,
Yeah. Yeah, and they obviously really like playing people, right? Getting them to buy into whatever act they're putting on, and then like dropping that net, like, and just bringing out the badge. Yeah.
I don't know why they needed to do that, though. There was really no...
No, there wasn't. All they really needed was to see that he was doing those sketches. And actually, like, they could have just walked up and arrested him because he had similar sketches on display. So, you know, but maybe they just thought they'd talk to him and see what kind of reaction they could get out of him.
Just for funsies.
Yeah.
And
it was
we
fun.
can't forget...
Wait a minute.
Wait.
Hang on a second. Is this an episode of Annie Gets Mad About Eames Screen Time?
I think it is. Alright. In this episode of Annie Gets Mad About Eames Screen Time, I'm actually not very mad. I would say it is right here, actually, in the sweet spot. Because I think it's a good Eames representation. You know, she's very sarcastic and funny and but also like invested in the case because of the just kind of how horrible these things have happened to these women.
Yeah. And it's a great showcase for her when she's, you know,
solo undercover.
Yeah, and she's like Alex.
Yeah, when has that happened before? It's happened.
There's the one with the psychiatrist.
When they're in the bar.
But also, yeah, maybe we're thinking of the same one where she goes to the car with the guy and she's like, oh.
That's the one with the dad from Family Ties.
Yeah, with the dad from Family Ties. Yeah, so that's another one where she's solo undercover. But I really like this performance of hers. And it's sort of a good showcase of them working together. Like, you know, fine, Goren is the one that figures out this film, but Eames is the one that's like, oh, they'd have to store it, you know, in an archival place. There's only a few of them in the city. And I just love how they so quickly pick up on each other's cues. So again, just another great showcase of how, you know, in sync they are as partners.
Lots of people say that they talk with their eyes. And that's true. Yeah. They do. They do just communicate with their eyes and body language. And yeah. And I'm sure it's very confusing for everyone else
around. Well, and then we see that often, like Carver and Deacons just haven't caught up yet, right? But they have their own kind of communication going. So yeah, it's a great Eames episode that way. And why did this episode make your top 10?
It's very unique. Again, I love the unique New York ones where... Say it.
Unique New York. I had trouble saying it a little earlier. Bit of a tongue twister, but...
Yeah, it's... Like, it's not a very... I feel like lots of episodes are just based on the same things. Like, this person was cheating on me, so I'm killing the person. Boring. We want unique, interesting storylines.
Well, this is certainly unique. Yeah, from kind of the whole childhood trauma and sort of the theory of the crime.
And art. And photography.
And it is really interesting, like, as always, they're just so... It's such a complete episode, right? That it's not just, oh, and then we'll have them be a photographer, but then they have to add, like, background information about film and editing techniques.
And even just the whole Holocaust subplot.
Yeah, that's really interesting, too. And this idea of, like, victims versus people... you know, who overcome being a victim, and depicting strength versus vulnerability. Like, it's just so smart, and I just feel like you could have had this basic plot line without all those little extras, but it's the little extras that make CI stand out, you know, just so much. So this leads me to, like, I don't know, maybe this is its own kind of segment, that Shawna gets mad that everyone sleeps on CI. Oh. And gives all their love to SVU.
Yes! What is up with that? Like, I know it's everybody's favorite. Nobody likes original Law & Order more than they like SVU if they've watched SVU.
And no one cares about CI.
And you know what? Like, I had such a high respect for SVU. My parents don't want me watching it because it's horrible and gross and violent. But I had a high respect for it because obviously it's got to be good.
It's so well regarded.
It's so well regarded. There's so many people in it. There's so many episodes. It's still going. Or did it just stop?
I think it might still be going.
Anyways, and everybody loves Olivia Benson, and I love that. I love that there's the protagonist is a female and she's, great. But then we were in a hotel and SVU was on. I was like, oh, great.
Like, let's see what all the fuss is about.
But I don't get it. Like, maybe it was just an off episode, but I really don't understand.
No, I didn't understand the appeal of it. I thought the acting was kind of wooden. I thought that the storylines were just sort of formulaic and basic.
And I mean, of course they would be. It's like, what, the 25th season?
Yeah.
So maybe if we watched like an older one, it would have been better. But I don't know. And then...
But what is our specific beef this week?
Our specific beef this week, I was really happy to see it. Taylor Swift was out with the actress of Olivia Benson. I'm not saying her name because I always get it wrong.
You know how we struggle to pronounce things.
I called her Margarita once. Not happening again.
But the actress who plays Olivia Benson.
Yes, and they were wearing Stevie Nicks shirts, but like it was a pun because they were the Knicks.
They're at the Knicks finals.
Which is so cute. I thought it was like, wow, so much stuff I love here.
Well, and what's the connection between Taylor Swift and...
She named her cat Olivia Benson because she loves SVU so much.
And particularly
then,
that character.
She named her cat Karma.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And then you hear these stories about there was the little girl that was like lost and then saw her on the street and walked up to her and asked for help because she knew her as a detective from the show. And so it's great that
That's great.
People
but
have been
where's
inspired.
our love for Eames?
Yeah.
Like, and I am so sick of seeing people glaze Goren for being like, I don't know, I think lots of it comes from people finding him attractive. But then Eames is just left in the dust. Nobody cares about Eames. But even,
like, let's talk about the shipping. Like, that everybody ships Benson and...
Stabler.
Yeah, Stabler. Like, you see that everywhere. But come on.
What about Goreens?
What about Goreens?
Which is such a cute ship name, too.
So that's our beef, and
that's our beef.
I'm kind of tired of it. Like,
I'm really
seeing her on the cover of People magazine.
And like, after seeing her acting, I just I thought about it a long time, and I really do think that Katharine Irby is a better actress than she is. She's so much more expressive and fun to watch, and she made Captain way before Olivia Benson did.
So, yeah, we don't mean to be, like, harsh or, don't send angry letters. And we're certainly not trying to, antagonize the Swifties because we'll just get canceled. We're Swifties, too. But, Taylor, when you're taking a little time off after the wedding and you just want to unwind and you've already seen all the episodes of SVU, give Criminal Intent a try.
I bet she's watched Criminal Intent.
I don't know. I just never hear people...
Because she says that she's watched Law and Order. And I think she's watched NCIS.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like CI is overlooked.
But then again, it's nice to have
It's nice to have...
bubble.
Yeah.
We are the only Criminal Intent
as far
podcast.
as we know. So we actually got a very nice comment. If you're watching, thank you so much for your comment. But a viewer had said...
We love you. We love the Eames love. I do.
And she said, that she actually hadn't been able to find any other podcasts on Criminal Intent. So, maybe we're the only one.
We're the only one in the world. Maybe there's one in a different language for, the Russian one.
Because there's so many.
There's so much talk about. I love you all on our little Tumblr, fandom. But, I know we're running out of content for Goren and Eames, but, are we that desperate that we're learning a different language to watch the Russian one?
But it's weird that there's no... I never see the Toronto one on Tumblr.
Yeah.
And it's weird that, even though Criminal Intent seems to be kind of the lesser known...
You know why? Nobody likes Canada.
But there are so many iterations of it. There's a Canadian one, there's a Russian one.
There's a French one named...
Oh, yeah, what is it?
Joe.
Oh, okay, but that's a little bit different, though.
No,
it's
right.
It's the same universe, but it's not actually like a Dick Wolf production. But,
there's a Paris one, right?
but I think there is a French one. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, yeah, that's our beef for the week.
That's our beef for the bars.
So thank you for watching.
Yeah, and shout out to the Tumblr little
fan base
because I love you guys.
But we've got to keep the memory of CI alive.
Yes, don't move on too fast, please.
And let's push for a reboot. Not a reboot, a reunion episode.
A reunion episode, even if it was like they're both back on SVU. That would be great.
Sure. But we want confirmation that they end up together. Because what's our other beef about SVU?
What is it?
That Eames... So...
Right.
When you watch the series finale of CI, okay...
They, like, literally drive off in the distance in love.
And so it is very, very plausible that you can imagine they end up getting together. And it was, like, left open. And that's what I loved about it. Because I was like, I choose to believe that they end up together based on this final scene where there's just, like, what is going on here? But
then in SVU, Eames says that Goren retired.
She does a guest episode, and we learn...
She does 2 guest episodes.
They're no longer partners.
They're no longer partners in that sense. But we don't know about...
No, but she's like, oh, I think it's pretty clear that they're not together. Because she says, it was like being in a marriage or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't like that.
But this is what I want, okay? I want, like, one of them to be on SVU. Mm-hmm. And something... I don't know how they would mention it, but they mention that they're together.
Yes.
And they have been all this time.
Yeah, because you have to undo the damage. And I'm glad that they had, Eames on as a guest. But it's like, don't ruin my little dream that, I, at the end of CI, I'm just happily going through life.
We don't have to regard that stuff as true because it's not in the CI.
Whatever. I mean, it is kind of. It's the same universe. And so I guess I have to accept it. I do like that she said...
But we don't know what can happen.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it can never happen, but...
Oh. Cool.
But yeah, I do like that she says it was like a marriage.
Yeah. No, she loves him. In that episode specifically, like, that interaction with...
And what I think, and this is just like my theory, is that after his therapy, the reason that Goren is kind of looking at her strangely when she comes to pick him up, and there's this weird sort of tension there, and she's like, are you okay? Like, I think he's come to terms with the fact that he is in love with her, and maybe he can't be her partner anymore because...
Yeah, so maybe, he went away for a year and then came back.
Yeah.
And they, met up again.
And during that time, like, clearly, at least SVU establishes that she really does miss him. So maybe when he's out of her life, she realizes that she loves him too, is kind of what I like to think. But because it really bothers me that Goren ended the partnership. But
as the only CI podcast in the world, we demand a reboot. Because I think we have that authority, right?
And, like, Vincent D'Onofrio has expressed interest in that. So,
and you know what Catherine Irby has expressed interest in? Just political, she goes on, what are they called? Protests?
Oh, yeah.
I love her. Love her.
Yeah.
But that's all she's posting about. I love you, but I want some CI.
Yes. It can't all just be left to fan fiction. We want it to be confirmed.
Is the fan fiction amazing? Yes. Did I stay up so late yesterday trying to find a good fan fiction? Yes.
What about this?
However,
okay, they do an appearance on Criminal Intent Toronto, which I watch. It's got a lot of really bad Canadian acting. Like, it's well written, but it's like a lot of bad Canadian acting and bad Canadian accents. but come on up to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
They like come and do a consultation because it's similar to a case that they worked on. And there's an opportunity to see them again. All you have to do is one episode.
One episode. Doesn't even have to be a very long appearance. 10 minutes at most.
I think they should
And
be...
they're together.
Yeah. And then we'll be satisfied.
Then we'll be happy forever and ever.
Anyways, we've gone way over time.
Way over time.
Pretty soon the bird clock is going to interrupt us, so we are going to
Two
wrap up.
episodes without the bird clock in a row. How unusual.
Highly irregular. We don't have any art this week.
No. I was preoccupied with other art.
Yeah. Stranger Things art. Yeah. So how's that going?
We are so over time. This is going to take a whole other podcast. So I guess we'll have to leave you at that.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you very much for joining us and for listening to our crazed rants. And next week, I believe we're back. I think we have a few more season 4 episodes, perhaps Gone or Collective, one of those.
Yeah, one of those.
But see you again.
See. Okay. We're still working
We're
on
working
this.
on it.